Hey, Mark.
At the trailhead, we meet Mark Kimbrough, the executive director of the Tahoe Rim Trail Association.
So what do you got in store for us?
Today we're going to hike Nevada's little segment of the Tahoe Rim Trail, at least a piece of it. And we're going to start here at Tahoe Meadows at our trailhead for the Rim Trail. And we're going to head to Spooner, which is 23 miles away.
Well, should we head out then?
Yes, let's go.
We'll follow you.
Tahoe Meadows offers 2 trailheads for the Tahoe Rim Trail, as well as a 1.3-mile-long interpretive trail, all of which are located above 8,000 feet in elevation.
With all the water running through here, I imagine that this trail erodes pretty quickly. Do you have to do a lot of maintenance on it?
Yeah, well, actually, the trails are really, there is a lot of maintenance, especially when you mix water with them, and this is the worst case scenario, because you have a tremendous amount of water have an impact on your tread. So you build different features along there to hopefully get the water off the trail.
So we're finally headed away from the highway. Why did we follow the highway so long?
You know, that wasn't very attractive, was it? Along a highway to start with a rim trail.
Beautiful.
Well, what happened was that this meadow area is a very significant area for the Washoe tribe. That was one of the reasons we stayed away from the meadows. So they really didn't want that encroachment into kind of their area of protection.
Okay.
So we stayed along the highway for that reason. And then the other reason, obviously, if you walk across the meadow, especially this time of year, you're going to walk in mud, which is a very difficult task in trail design.
The trail cuts through the meadows, and the display of wildflowers is spectacular. The water of Ophir Creek is refreshing too, but we have a lot of miles ahead of us, and we're anxious to begin our trek in earnest.
In less than a mile, the trail climbs out of the meadows and into the pines. Then for the next 7 to 8 miles, we hike along a north-south oriented ridge. Mount Baldy, Rose Knob Peak, and Relay Peak all sit on the ridge just north of us. The trail takes us up and down a number of gullies until we reach the trail intersection of Tunnel Creek Road and the Red House Flume Trail.
Well, here we are at the end of this segment of the trail where the bicycles usually take off here for the famous Flume Trail goes off this way. And most of the bikes like to go that way for the scenic value, and then part of the rim trail gets closed up here pretty soon. But we got another few miles to go before the mountain bikes aren't allowed. And this segment here is going to take us around to Twin Lakes, and then we're going to head up the ridge there and then end up over at Marlette Campground tonight. But the big surprise we all get is to go off to Chris's Loop first today.
Chris's Loop, they named a loop after you. You didn't even know it, did you?
I didn't. I'm eager to see my namesake. When you're laying a trail, then you try to balance the visitation of the person hiking and the environment itself then.
Yes, so it's a little bit of a balance and protection. The wildlife is just as equal as we are when you lay it out, which is kind of unique. They have just as much a right to us not disturbing their maybe nesting areas, and so we protect those and let people have another route, get them the same spot, but maybe not the best route.
The tracks on the path tell us that this is a busy mountain biking area. And besides that, our path is marked with reminders that the Tahoe Rim Trail is a multi-use trail.
This ridge is the one that I walked probably 50 times trying to find a better route for the rim trail here. This is one of the segments that I was responsible for. And it's too steep and it has too many boulders on it. So there would have been too many switchbacks, which is something you avoid like more than anything else with trail design. So doggone it, we weren't able to ride on that ridge over there, which certainly would have made it a much nicer view of the lake over there. Part of the problem is when you lay out the trail, other things come along with plant problems or archaeological problems or animal problems that realign you. But we get right back on track as quick as we can, and when we get up on the ridge, you'll see the reward we get for this route. That's a nice switchback. Very well built and designed. That's a perfect switchback. Well, here we are at our next junction.
About 2.5 miles from Tunnel Creek is a trail spur called Christopher's Loop. It is a short hike to Herlin Peak.
Up over this hill here, and this hill's got a special name to it. There was an individual who worked on getting some butterflies discovered in this area, and he got the peak named after him by the name of Herlin.
Herlin.
So, Herlin, H-E-R-L-A-N. So we're going to head up over Herlin Peak here, it's called, which is kind of unique because you don't really see a peak here. It's kind of the highest pile of rocks up there that we're going to go over the top.
Will we see butterflies?
We hope so. I don't know if they're the Herlin butterflies or not. So.
We'll see. Not far to the overlook. That should be exciting. I love the views.
Half a mile.
Is this Christopher's Loop?
Yes.
Who's Christopher?
He was a son of a couple from Incline Village that was a pilot.
Ah.
That, and I'm not sure how I don't know if he was in a plane when he died or not, but he died too early. And they bought this mile. You can buy miles from the Rim Trail. It's our fundraiser. Not many tracks in here. There's a short-lived water source there.
And the little birds will be enjoying that one.
A very small pool.
That gives you a class in granite. How water and granite form an acid that starts eroding the rock. So each year that gains water, it just erodes a little bit more and the pool gets a little bit bigger.
Some wild trees up there.
Yeah, actually there's some Sierra junipers in there that's not really common in this part. See them hanging in the cracks of the rocks there?
Oh, yeah. How do they
very,
grow out
very
of there?
old tree, and what is it, 6 feet tall? It's just great, great scenery in here. Coming up to the last little piece here. Now, actually, I want to remind you, if you got any fear of height, you need to pay attention to the fact that this is a major drop-off.
Oh my gosh.
And it just kind of falls out from underneath you, doesn't it?
Kidding.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, wow.
Woo!
It drops 10 degrees by just looking at the water, and it cools you off a little bit.
Oh my
That does feel
gosh.
cooler.
You do just walk up to the edge, don't you?
It's like a 90-degree drop here for the first 100 feet down it.
Incredible.
The view from Christopher's Loop is phenomenal. We're standing on a granite outcrop 1,500 feet above Sand Harbor. From here you really experience the incredible beauty of the Tahoe Basin, the crystal waters of Tahoe itself, and the sculpted granite of the mountains all around us.
Here's where we're heading out.
Oh, okay.
We're going to go up here about a quarter mile, half mile between those two.
Cool.
Marlette Peak Trail is closed to bikes, and this sandy, steep spur would be very difficult for most cyclists anyway.
What's the history of the trail? It's here now, but how much time did it take to put together?
You know, back in about the mid-'70s, a gentleman who worked for the Forest Service over in the basin, his name Glenn Hampton, kind of sat out one day and looked around. He was responsible for recreation in the basin. He said, you know, wouldn't it be really nice to have a trail around the rim of this lake? So, and he was one of those type of people, once he has a vision, he wants to chase it a little bit. And he was very smart and pulled in some really great partners with state parks in his office and some people in the community that had some money. And they gave him some seed money. In 1981, it became an organization. And then, since '81, they've been working on the trail. And then in 2001, we finished the ability for people to do the loop. We still have a lot of little pieces to fix, some bridges, some connectors, some pieces off the roadway. But in that time, we did 100 and some miles because the Pacific Crest Trail, which is on the west shore, was already there. And we became partners with them and kind of taken their route as part of our route.
Your views definitely do not disappoint.
Yeah, I knew that I wouldn't be wasting your time bringing you up one more last chance over here on this side.
This is incredible.
Isn't this nice? One more last chance. You come up here in the fall and all those quakies are bright yellows and reds, and it's really a very nice shot up here. This is one of my favorite spots. This is a great place here. This is where a Kodak moment, I call it. I like to bring people up for the Rim Trail to share this vista with them.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So that you can encourage them to be donors in the future.
This is a good spot for that, huh?
You've talked a couple times about donors and adopting. The Tahoe Rim Trail is an all nonprofit organization, isn't it?
Totally run by membership and donors and some grants. So we need opportunities like this to bring people up and let people have an opportunity for those who have the finances in their life to have a place, pick a place, actually this Vista's up for sale. This one here, people can actually buy this Vista and get credit out of trailheads and help the Rim Trail do all the maintenance that we've been talking about on the hike here. Yeah, we're going to head out to Snow Valley Peak. You can see it from here, actually. Couldn't look that far.
The Tahoe Rim Trail incorporates 165 miles of trail, and its construction and maintenance have been huge undertakings.
Mark, I'm guessing it takes more than one person to build 100-some miles of trail.
You know, this project is known nationally as one of the most, one of the best volunteer projects in the country, because they had over 100-some thousand hours of volunteer time, and thousands of people were involved with us building this trail. And it's all about volunteers. I mean, everything about this trail was people that take their private time from their life, come out here, spend 8 hours. Many of them spend hundreds of hours out here, becoming crew leaders and working on very difficult projects. We've seen some stuff today in the rock work and those rock walls and moving soil and cutting down trees. And it's really, really important to understand that this is all about volunteers, this whole trail is.
Hiking towards Snow Valley Peak, we're leaving the pines behind. Soon we're in an open field of low-lying wildflowers and sagebrush. This area is often covered in snow for months at a time.
It looks like most of the trail, if not all, that we've walked, is designed to avoid obstacles rather than to go through them. Is that by design, or is it just too much work to, blast through a rock to put a trail through?
Well, you do that as much as you can, but more often than not, you just can't get away with it, because when you lay out a trail, you've got a certain alignment that's at a certain grade, and you can only go around things so much, or else you'll end up messing up your grade. You go around things as much as you can, but sometimes you just have to go through to keep that nice even grade that you want to walk.
Both you guys have talked about trail building, and I'm guessing that it's not an easy task.
All of the design elements in building trails all deals with water. The side slope of the 10%, you always have a side slope. How you cut into the bank, it all deals with getting water off of it as quickly as possible without the tread becoming the river.
I see.
You can spend 2 weeks on 20 feet of trail very easily when you get into a very rocky area. Then you break out the equipment, the more technical type of stuff like your grip hoists and your Punjar rock drills, and you split the rocks, or you grab a hold of them with cables and you move them around. And sometimes you have to make some really big walls, moving around these 1,000-pound plus boulders. And probably, it's very satisfying to do all of this heavy work and then to have something done behind you that you can look at. But then what happens? You end up burying it all. So the hardest part of trail building is hidden, and it gets buried. People are walking along and they have no idea the work and the pain that went into, building this trail tread for people to walk on.
Even in dry years, it's common to find snow up here in the summer months. We come across a couple of snowfields along the trail, and Mark can't resist the chance to play a little.
I'm going to bring you guys out here to a point that's off the Rim Trail, what we kind of call our vistas. Actually, we might visit in the future to put a spur out here because it's such a popular view, as you can see why.
Oh, yeah.
It's a beautiful spot. Another one.
Whoa,
I don't think there's been a bad spot yet.
We made it to the other side of the lake.
And now this is only one section of the Tahoe Rim Trail, right, that we're doing?
Yes, they call it segments, and this is kind of a good spot to talk about segments because you can see almost the whole Rim Trail.